Pentagon is just as perplexed as any one of us about this phenomenon, because this phenomenon cannot be accessed by conventional so-called scientific methodology. So this is why there will never be such a thing as disclosure by the government. So the only disclosure will probably happen when the entities themselves decide to disclose their presence in a global, simultaneous manner or
Yeah, that's what I've been saying too, because knowledge is power. As long as they have the knowledge and we don't, we have no power. So I think what's going to happen, and there's a hair in the soup though on this one, and that is the fake alien invasion that Werner von Braun talked about. And also, it's on the CIA website. They keep moving it around, so it's hard to find, but it is there. There's a document, I think it's 21 pages or something like that. It's quite extensive, when they explain that they are orchestrating a fake alien invasion. Now, the thing about that one is that Werner von Braun talked about it to his secretary, and she went public with it. He said that there would be, the last card would be a fake alien invasion. And I think it's still in the cards. We may be led down to the primrose path towards that. That's what I'm wondering. There's so much information on that out there now that they may not be able to do it, but I think they would like to. I know you heard about that one too, so what do you think on that?
definitely people have suggested years ago that one of the most effective methods to forcefully unite this disorganized world is to create an outer threat, that is a threat from elsewhere from the universe, an alien threat. In fact, I corresponded for a few months with a Canadian journalist named Serge Monast, I believe in 1993 or 1994. And he mentioned that he was a Canadian journalist who investigated a lot of things, especially all kinds of cover-ups. But anyway, he came with this allegation that NASA had this project, a future project called the Project Blue Beam, in which in the future they could stage a fake extraterrestrial contact scenario or invasion scenario and create some kind of panic to unite this world. And of course, the world we're living in right now is so disorganized, it's catastrophically disorganized. And the only way to unite this world is to create extraterrestrial threat. And even Henry Kissinger said about it that the best way is to create this threat, whether it's real or not. Yeah. And also, former President Ronald Reagan also said it. Also, Gorbachev also said that same thing. And so, who is to say that this scenario is ridiculous? Because we have technologies right now that could enact a false extraterrestrial event, even locally, and with all kinds of technologies that we've been developing, such as instant holographic projection devices and a mind control system on a local level, but technology is advancing so much now that this scenario could be orchestrated globally and simultaneously. And you can never say that it's not going to happen. It's very likely that it could happen.
Yeah, and one of the, I think about close to a year ago now, there was one of the high-ranking NASA officials right next to the director. He said officially that by the end of 2025 there will be a fake alien invasion. And he was immediately removed from his position and put on permanent medical leave with salary. And I'm sure that the salary was one way they could control him still. Otherwise, if he talked anymore, then they will cut the salary off. So he said that. So I think NASA is still part of this program. I think there's things going on here. So if we wake up one morning and there's thousands of holographic ships in the sky, they look real, I think it's going to be a fake one. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it.
I think that's a good, good thought that this kind of thing could be realized very, very soon, because technology is advancing so rapidly right now with this all kinds of artificial intelligence and holographic projection devices. And back in 1996, there came a document about the Air Force 2025. It was a document that appeared in 1996, I believe, and it was the future technologies of the U.S. Air Force. And it stated in that document that 2025 will have a whole bunch of new technologies. And also one of the, a friend, researcher friend of mine named Jim Goodall. And Jim Goodall, well-known aerospace research, specialist. And he said that he did hear from his fellow aerospace associates that we will never know the truth about Area 51 until the year 2025. And that's what he said in his video that he produced back in 1983.
Yeah.
And I have part of that video, and so definitely things could happen by the end of this year, 2025, and considering that we're living in such an uncertain times of history right now, so we never know what's going to happen in the next couple of months, in the next few months, but who is to say that things like this could not escalate by the end of this year, 2025? We can only speculate, and nobody knows the future. Nobody knows the future, but we can speculate that it's always a possibility that something could take place by the end of this year. And, I have a personal experience in this line of thought because I live in this amazing state of New Mexico, USA. I've been living here off and on since 1965. And I have seen some strange stuff right here in New Mexico. And one of the interesting thing that happened to me in New Mexico was in 2009 when I held a UFO conference in the community of an Indian reservation called the Ikaria Apache Indian Reservation, which is located in northern part of this state of New Mexico.
Yeah.
And this community is known as Dulce, New Mexico.
Oh, yeah.
In 2009, I was the first person to hold a public town meeting about whether Dulce base is real or not, and that was in 2009. And I was afraid to have that meeting because I was an outsider. And for an outsider to come into an Indian reservation in Dulce, you know, and hold a meeting was just unthinkable. But I was encouraged by some of the officials of Dulce, New Mexico, that I should have this conference because there's definitely something going on in their community ever since around 1967. But, you know, my conclusion is that, yes, Dulce, New Mexico may have been an ideal location for the United States military and the Air Force to conduct some kind of a psychological operation, perhaps somewhat similar to Project Blue Beam, because in the 1970s and early 1980s, people had seen some strange things in Dulce, New Mexico, and a friend of mine who is no longer here, but his name was Gabe Valdez. He was assigned by the state of New Mexico to investigate the strange cattle mutilations that were occurring in Dulce area in, you know, middle 1970s to 1980s. And he came to the conclusion that these cattle mutilations and sightings of a strange aircraft and sightings of military helicopters in that area were part of the psychological operations, and the government may have used some kind of a holographic technology to make the people believe that they were seeing UFOs in the sky. And so I somehow agree with his conclusion that there was some kind of psyops going on. And even right now, people still occasionally report the sightings of strange entities in those are described as Bigfoot in the Navajo River area of Dulce, New Mexico. And you know, so this is just my personal thought that after investigating the Dulce base story for many, many years, since around 1988, I visited Dulce many times, and even now, I occasionally go to that location because it's only about a 3-hour drive from where I'm living in Albuquerque. And, you know, over the years, I have tried to find the physical evidence of an underground base over there, but still I haven't found any physical evidence for a physical facility over there. Yet, there seemed to be something going on that could be of some kind of a paraphysical nature.